Hello and welcome to yet another show, Hello America's What's Cooking, here on LinkedIn Live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, except of last week when we had a special edition. So you can find us here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm Senya Paula, the Regional Director of North America, and I'm hosting the North American guests. Today, I'm joined by Stephanie Seguin from Ottawa Tourism. Before we get started, Stephanie, welcome. And could you just quickly introduce yourself and Ottawa Tourism?
Sure. Thank you so much, Senya. My name is Stephanie Seguin, Director of Business Events for Ottawa Tourism, Canada's capital. I'm so pleased to be here and really excited to give you a little bit of a sneak peek about the first North American Summit that we'll be hosting in June.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for butchering your last name. I should have not done that. I should know better by now. And let's just dive straight in. I'm talking to you about the North America Summit. We have been talking almost daily. And I know things have been happening in Canada a lot, in Ottawa especially. And you just came out of a great live event. Did you mention it was called Tete-a-Tete? Could you share a little bit more? What kind of an event was that? And what are some of your key learnings?
Sure. Yeah, it was an exciting week. I think many of us that attended Meet Week last week are still kind of catching our breaths from what a whirlwind it was in our city. We're very lucky. For the last 32 years, if I'm not mistaken, we've had the pleasure of hosting this signature trade show event that's put on by the Canadian Society of Association Executive, Tete-a-Tete, as you called it. It's a signature anchor event that brings together executive directors, meeting planners, and government procurers, and brings all the Canadian destination marketing organizations together at an event where we can knowledge share and do some business along the way. So it was a very successful trade show, but it also anchors other events that happen in that same week. So last week we also had some hosted buyer programs. We celebrated Global Meetings Industry Day together, MPI events and PCMA events. So we did it all in 1 week, and it was long overdue, of course, with the pause that we were forced to take the last 2 years. So it was a welcome change. We normally host that week in late January, February, but of course, smart enough to know that pushing it to the April timeframe was going to be when more people would be able to attend the events, which is exactly what we experienced last week. So key learnings is that we're all still very much looking to have that human connection when it comes to relationship building and knowledge sharing, and that's no surprise to anybody on today's call. I have no doubt, but it was just it was a very key time as we really are starting to open up and see all the signs pointing to the return of business events.
And I totally forgot to welcome also our audience online following us and encouraging everybody to share where they're calling in from and any questions for Stephanie. But you have some fans in the audience, Stephanie. I can only assume this is from our dear friend Glenn. Welcoming all North America ICA members, and he's saying you are his talented and passionate colleague, and welcoming us to Ottawa this June. You also are having greetings from Toronto, Stephanie. Thank you, Rahul. And I believe
friendly faces.
I think I also saw somewhere Robert from Montreal is also saying. And I'm hoping that's Glenn again to for thanking for all the things we are doing towards the North America Chapter Summit. So you mentioned some elements which are of no surprise, which came out of the event, but you are doing quite a lot which are new and innovative in Ottawa. Could you share just some highlights of what's new coming in your city?
Sure. I mean, probably the biggest steps that we've taken in the last number of years are just, having new partners brought to the table, or revisiting some of the partnerships we've had, and really finding ways that we can reimagine how we work together. That's a bit of a broad statement, but it's really what we've really focused our time and energy on. At ICA, one of our very proud moments was to win the marketing award on our efforts on the Hybrid City Alliance, as an example. So it's just never been so important for us to figure out how even our city stakeholders, we can kind of forge ahead together and be that much more aligned in terms of where we're putting our efforts, our time, our resources, and our passions. We're all very enthusiastic, but we do need to be that much more focused and purposeful in everything we do. And in the conversations we have with clients, we find that they too are feeling that much more aware that having purposeful and intentional meetings are at the top of the list, and that aligning with the destination that can help them achieve those goals are certainly top of that new kind of request. So that really, again, broad strokes, but where we've put in a lot of our time and effort, and it is starting to see us some great results in some new business coming across our desks.
So you mentioned the Hybrid City Alliance, which is has won the Best Marketing Award at last year's Congress. Does that collaboration with your partners in the city, are they supporting that hybrid element as well, those activities within
I
the
mean,
alliance?
absolutely. We are, I would call it a little bit of, we continue to be in that in-between stage where we're still finding our way forward, but many of our clients have either, kind of looked at a hybrid format, or said they're going to pause and have the full, kind of event that they had originally envisioned in a future year. But in 2022 is really that in-between stage, and where those new learnings and trying new things is really important. And we'll find out more once we really start to bring to life those events as to what sticks and what makes sense. But of course, we can't come out of a pandemic doing the same things. We need to be that much more responsive and agile and creative. So that was one of the many steps we've taken to help that along.
And talking about new things, as we already alluded a few times during this chat, we are in June in Ottawa for our North America Summit. Could you give us a little sneak peek of what's in store for our delegates?
Sure. I mean, in terms of the location, I'm really excited to say that you'll get to stay in what we say lovingly, the castle. So we have a castle in the middle of our city. It's stunning. It's where everything happens. So it's right next to the locks. You can see the canal. You're a stone throws away from the Byward Market, which is where we have the most concentrated number of little boutique shops and food and beverage. And we just cannot wait to, have the education that, obviously ICA and we've had the pleasure of having a little bit of time with you to help create a really great program that's going to be tools in your toolbox, and then the backdrop of Ottawa to inspire. And I'm a big foodie, so when I think of coming to a city, I always like to explore the food scene. So we've got some great new kids on the block, if you will, in the Byward Market. And of course, we're a four-season destination. So in June, we like to really talk about the patios that our delegates can frequent and enjoy. the city is extremely easy to self-navigate. So one of our new fun places to visit will be very close at the National Gallery. It's called Tavern at the Gallery, and it's going to be stunning. I haven't even been yet, so we'll all maybe get to experience it together. We've got Sebom Cooking, which is a new self-guided culinary tour. So if a little bit of a health break allows delegates to go out and self-navigate and find out what Ottawa's foodie scene is like, then that'll be a fun one. That's launching in May, so it's a new product to the city.
Oh, excellent! And we are just in the heart of the city with where the chateau is, right?
Absolutely, you're right smack dab in the middle of everything. As I say, right where the Shaw Centre, our convention center, our gem of the city. So you'll see it all. And what we like to say is that Ottawa is very much Canada in one city. So for those that haven't been to Canada, you'll get to experience a little bit of everything in the short time that you'll be with us in June.
And we are preparing a super interesting and useful and meaningful and intentional program where we're really focusing on those tools in the toolbox. We are finalizing our outline of the program and we'll be opening registration early next week. So hopefully everybody will be on board with that as well. But one thing which we will expose our delegates also to on the last day is also connected very much to something which Ottawa Tourism.
Oh, I think Senya has had what we've all experienced. Oh, you're back, Senya.
I'm back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my internet is just being crazy these days. We're talking about the local heritage and culture and inclusivity. Could you share a little bit more how this aligns with your business approach and your Congress offering as Ottawa?
Sure. I mean, for ICA right away, we knew that we wanted to work with one of our wonderful partners, Mark with Makatu. So we're really excited to have him come and his. What he does, what his business does is provide education and creative workshops that center around Indigenous teachings. And as part of the last day of the legacy piece, we'll have Mark come in and just kind of give a little bit of the history of our Indigenous people. And we really do want to make sure that everyone that comes to our city understands that important side of our history and know more about our Indigenous people. We'll also have a piece where we have Mark that's currently making some beautiful blankets, and we'll be working with an Indigenous drop-in center that ICA will be leaving the blankets for them to use, and they will stay at the center for as long, leaving that legacy. So really it's about education, history, and if everybody can leave just knowing a little bit more about our Indigenous people, that very much aligns with what our city, what our people, our community, and our Indigenous people deserve.
And it's also a great way to open everybody's mind to how important it is when they go back to be respectful of those Indigenous cultures and diverse groups in all kinds of fields. You already spoke about your passion, foods. We are on a Hello What's Cooking show. So any favorite recipe restaurants in Ottawa?
I have a ton, but I decided to talk about my sweet tooth today, which is pretty, to be in this industry, you need to have a lot of energy. And so the sugar rush is definitely one that I depend on regularly. And we have lots of great restaurants, but I'm going to talk about Artisan Bakery, again, on the Byron Market, because that's where you'll be close to. And they have a very unique pastry that brings together a croissant and a donut, and it's called the cronut. And it's extremely delicious. It's popular, but on Thursdays. So I'm thinking of the program here when everybody's in need of a little bit of a walk and maybe that sugar rush. This is when the bakery really goes all out and does their most impressive concoctions. So I'll leave it there and say I hope everybody has an opportunity to get their sweet tooth, enlightened with this cronut. But really, what I just want to say too is we will certainly look forward to having everybody fill their toolboxes while they're in Ottawa, fill their heads with the education that's going to help them be more agile and adaptable, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way.
Thank you so much. And I better go on a diet now straight away before I come, so I can fill up on those cronuts. For anybody watching and wanting to find out more about Ottawa tourism, please feel free to visit their website, ottawatourism.ca. And that's all for us today. If anybody wants to be a guest on our live chat, Hello America's What's Cooking, please feel free to email me at xenia.p@ecoworld.org. And the only thing left is to announce who will be our guest next week. And we are staying in Canada. Gillian Cardinal from Brain Dates will talk about how to really create those meaningful connections via Brain Dates, and how ICA will pilot Brain Dates during the North America Summit. Thank you all for being with us, and wishing you a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
See you in Ottawa.